When people approach retirement, they usually focus on one big question: how much money do I need? But once retirement begins, a different question becomes far more important and far more expensive if you get it wrong. That question is, which income source should I claim first? Your 401k, your Social Security, your pension. Most people assume there's a logical standard order. They believe there's a safe sequence that works for everyone. And that assumption is exactly where problems begin. Because in retirement, income doesn't just support your lifestyle, it determines your tax brackets, your Medicare premiums, how much of your Social Security becomes taxable, and how long your savings may last. I've seen retirees with strong balances, solid pensions, and good intentions accidentally create unnecessary tax pressure simply because they claimed income in the wrong order. Not because they did something reckless, but because no one ever showed them how these income sources interact. So today, let's walk through how 401ks, Social Security, and pensions really work together and how the order you claim them can quietly shape your entire retirement. Hi, I'm Scott O'Connell with Tactical Investment Advisors. Today, I'm breaking down how 401ks, Social Security, and pensions interact and how choosing the right order to claim them can significantly improve your long-term retirement outcome. If you find this helpful, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. It helps more people find these educational videos. Important 2026 update, the rule most people missed. As of January 1st, 2026, a new 401k rule is now in effect that changed how many higher earning Americans can make catch-up contributions. If you're 50 or older and your prior year wages were over $150,000, IRS rules now require that your catch-up contributions be made as Roth contributions instead of pre-tax. That may sound like a small technical change, but it meaningfully affects how your future taxes stack, how Roth planning works, and how income sequencing plays out in retirement. For people who previously relied on pre-tax catch-up contributions to manage taxable income, this rule quietly changed the math, especially in the years leading into retirement. First, why claiming order matters more than most people expect. One thing most people don't realize is that retirement income planning isn't about choosing accounts, it's about managing taxable income over time. Each income source behaves differently on your tax return. 401k withdrawals are generally taxable as ordinary income. Most pensions are generally taxable. Social Security may be partially taxable depending on income. When these income sources overlap without coordination, the result isn't just higher taxes in one year, it's a cascade effect. Higher income can push you into higher tax brackets. Higher income can increase how much of your Social Security benefits become taxable and can trigger higher Medicare premiums through IRMAA. It can also reduce planning flexibility later in retirement. This is why sequencing matters. Not because one source is good or bad, but because timing determines impact. Next, the 401k. It's the most flexible tool you have for many retirees. The 401k is the largest account they own, and it's often the most misunderstood. Here's what makes the 401k powerful. You control when withdrawals begin. You control how much income you can create and whether income is smooth or stacked. But here's the trade-off. Every dollar withdrawn from a traditional 401k shows up as ordinary income. There are no preferential tax rates, no partial exclusions. And if you wait too long to use it, required minimum distributions or RMDs eventually take control away from you. RMDs can force income whether you need it or not. Larger balances create larger mandatory withdrawals. For many retirees, the early years of retirement, before Social Security and pensions fully start, represent a unique opportunity. These years often come with lower taxable income. They come with more control over withdrawals. They come with the ability to shape future tax brackets. This is why some retirees intentionally use their 401ks earlier, not because they're spending recklessly, but because they're planning ahead. They're reducing future tax pressure instead of deferring it blindly. Next, Social Security. Guaranteed income, strategic timing. Social Security is one of the most valuable retirement benefits available. It provides guaranteed income for life, inflation adjustments, survivor benefits for spouses, but Social Security is also one of the most misunderstood pieces of retirement income. Many people believe claiming early is getting your money back. Others assume delaying is always better. But the truth is, it's more nuanced. Claiming early permanently reduces monthly benefits. Delaying increases guaranteed income, and the taxation depends on total income. Here's where sequencing matters. If you claim Social Security while still taking large 401k withdrawals or receiving pension income, more of your Social Security can become taxable. So in some cases, up to 85% of your benefits are included as taxable income. That doesn't mean Social Security shouldn't be claimed early, but it does mean the decision should be coordinated with everything else. Social Security works best when it's layered into a plan, not when it's claimed in isolation. Next, pensions. Stability with less flexibility. Pensions are increasingly rare, and when people have them, they're valuable. A pension will provide predictable monthly income. Pensions can reduce market exposure, and pensions can produce psychological comfort for many retirees. But pensions also come with limitations. Most pensions start on a fixed timeline. They're fully taxable and can't be adjusted once started. Once pension income begins, it becomes a permanent part of your tax picture. That income stacks on top of everything else. So these pensions can limit Roth conversion opportunities. They can limit tax bracket management or flexibility later in retirement. So for some retirees, the most strategic planning years are before pension income begins, not after. This is where proactive sequencing can preserve long-term flexibility. Next, the risk of income stacking. One of the most common retirement mistakes I see is unintentional income stacking. It often looks like this. A retiree delays 401k withdrawals, they claim Social Security at full retirement age, and their pension begins automatically. Well, suddenly multiple income streams turn on at once. Pension plus Social Security plus RMDs, which means higher tax brackets, higher Medicare premiums. This isn't a failure of saving, it's a failure of sequencing. See, the result is often higher lifetime taxes, even though the retiree did everything right. This is why order matters, not because it changes how much money you have, but because it changes how efficiently that money supports your life. And next, why there is no universal correct order. People often ask for a simple rule: 401k first, Social Security later, pension last. But retirement planning doesn't work with universal rules. The right sequence depends on several factors: your tax brackets today and in the future, pension start options and survivor benefits, what you want your legacy to look like versus your lifestyle, health and longevity expectations, spousal income coordination, Medicare premium thresholds, your portfolio size, and withdrawal rates. For some retirees, it may make sense to use 401k funds early. May make sense to delay Social Security to maximize guaranteed income. May make sense to lock in pension stability later. But for others, the priorities may become completely different. The point isn't optimization, it's alignment. Next, a better way to think about sequencing. Instead of asking which should I claim first, ask these questions instead. What income do I need today to live comfortably? Which income sources increase future tax pressure? Where do I still have flexibility and for how long? This reframes retirement planning from reaction to strategy. It helps prevent panic decisions during market volatility. It helps prevent unnecessary tax acceleration later. And it helps prevent regret about irreversible choices. This is where working with a financial professional can make a meaningful difference. Next, retirement is a long game, not a single decision. Retirement often lasts 25 to 30 years or more. The order you claim income in your early 60s affects taxes in your 70s, It affects healthcare costs in your late 60s, your legacy outcomes for your family. That's why sequencing matters. Not because it creates perfection, but because it creates predictability. Predictability is what allows retirees to enjoy their freedom without constantly second guessing decisions. When retirement income is coordinated properly, something important happens. Decisions feel calmer, taxes feel more manageable, and retirement feels intentional instead of reactive. Your 401k, Social Security, and pension are powerful tools, but only when they're working together. Good retirement outcomes don't come from guessing or default choices. They come from planning, thoughtful, coordinated planning. If you're approaching retirement and want to make sure your plan is working for you, not against you, let's talk. Click the link in the description below to book a free consultation, and I'll walk you through your options.